way on the screen for all of the 15-minute or 10-minute break and for the start of match 2, which is Fury 1 versus Rebel, as you can see down below it. Jacob, I know you're excited for this one.
I'm definitely excited for this one, but man, that was a beat down from Rise. We had to give him a couple extra seconds on this one, but honestly, I don't know what to get when I dig into the bag of tricks and I get Fury 1 versus Rebel, a teams that have shown progression of some sorts, degression, inconsistencies, consistencies. 1 week they're looking like a great team, next week they're looking like not so much. That's for both of them, Colin.
Is it digression or regression? I think it's regression.
That's how much they got me messed up right now, Colin.
You made up a whole new word for it. A whole new word for it. Let's take a look at the Fury 1 roster for all of you at home that might not know who's still on the squad. It is, of course, Jalid, Aimboot, Toady, and Ventry. Making up the squad of Fury 1. I'm going to give you a quick insight into this one. I love that Toady's come over to the squad. You can see flashes of his IGL, of his in-game leadership shining through, but then at times they fall back into their old tricks. They fall back into their old ways. They get a little too big for their britches, and they get a little too quick as a hiccup, and they fall flat on their face. I want to see them continue to learn both sides of the coin, the offense that has gotten them to this point, as well as some defense that might help them close out some games. That is your Fury 1 roster. And now, Jacob, talk to us about Rebel.
I mean, this Rebel roster, almost the same core, Crack, Kardia, and Xploidz, but you bring in Monkyz, you take out Identives, and strangely enough, Colin, somehow it's still working. They still figure out a way to find that groove, but same thing that they've lacked with almost every variation of the roster is just that consistency. But honestly, Colin, in some of these matches, some of these weeks, you don't need to be the best team. You just need to come out with a fire like ever before. And I think Rebel in each and every one of their matchups has the potential to come out with said fire.
Ain't got to be the best team, just got to be the better team on that night. And somebody who's been the quickest draw in history to quit back to the main menu is our player to watch. My man's got more rage quits in the past week, and Carter's got liver pills. It's Aimboot, baby.
I thought we were going to see some sort of like quits per 10 minutes or something like that coming out of this stat. But KDA 1.47, 10k damage, and kill participation just under 28%. And that's, to me, not alarming numbers of a superstar, but numbers that are showing that he is an up-and-comer that is really beginning to make form or take form and mold himself into the player he wants to be.
We'll see if that mold continues to solidify, and he'll help his team go to a victory tonight, because he's going to have to figure it out on a couple of very specific maps. And there's only one reason for this season that there's very specific maps, and that is because there's maps that are banned out, baby. Once again, Jacob, talk to me about what you see.
When I look at this map cycle, due to the inconsistencies from both of these teams, I'm not really sure what exactly I'm looking for. I know they're banning away Reactor, Canal, Zafira Harbor, a lot of CQC style maps in which I would think the teams would play into, but it just almost seems like they're even banning away their opponent's best maps because they're confident in the middle of the pack map pool.
Well, this will be a very interesting situation when we see what the picks are coming up here momentarily. Of course, Regency, we get the checkout on Execution. Vasgar, Return to the Desert, baby. That's going to be back-to-back matches tonight. And we will finish off with District and Clocktower. Jacob, does anything stand out to you across the bowl?
I mean, I'm just looking at Rebels picks, and they kind of like scream a little bit of teamwork, making the dream work, flexibility, especially on map number 5, Clocktower. If you go to check out Execution and District Control, there are a lot of aggressive style maps, and with a young team like Fury 1, even without Toady, they were taking teams to the wire. You add a little bit of that leadership, and they're looking to kind of take control of the series very, very early on, which is honestly possible the way Regency plays out to get themselves momentum into checkout, which could be dangerous to either one of these teams that could potentially lead to 2-0.
It could get dangerous very quickly, especially because we've seen teams really struggle on Regency if they lose a couple of hills in a row. Regency always kind of helps set the pace, in my opinion. You always kind of see what you're going to get from a squadron when they play on Regency, whether they're going to be great, good, fantastic, or below average, or, me at the back of the class. I mean, not ugly, oogly, like 3 O's, a GL, and a Y. Oogly.
Oogly. I'm going to say, I'm going to hold you. That was oogly play right there coming out from somebody. But honestly, I got to agree with you. You have to be able in this cycle, especially on Regency, to be able to think outside of the box and think rather quickly because of how long it takes to put yourselves into that position. But you have to be able to strike as a full-on team. You're going to notice on Regency, there's going to be very, very few moments, still possible though, but very few moments to one individual is really going to be able to take over each and every one of these hills, where it's the actual hill or the spawn point themselves. It's going to take a heck of a lot of teamwork in this map, number one.
Well, let's take a look at our predictions, Jacob. Talking about thinking fast, thinking quick on your feet. I'm going to give my prediction first. I can't wait to be let down again. We're going Rebel, boys.
Oh my gosh, you just got clipped. Let me tell you, if you don't end up on Twitter by the end of this matchup, I don't know what to tell you. But I got to go ahead and be 2 peas in a pod yet again. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I think Rebel's going to take the series. I just think they have a little bit more firepower. And when things get chaotic, I think they're going to be able to pull it together. And I think things will get chaotic in this series. So overall, I just have Rebel pulling through.
I mean, they call me out all the time. They say, when are you going to believe in us? Can't wait to be let down again, man. Can't wait. It's going to be nice putting all my faith in them against Fury 1. Don't do this to me. Unless chat goes with us and then they want to make them wrong too and get them another NDL comp.
Hey, I'm with you. I don't want to be. I mean, this is my worst season ever. Even Reflections is doing better than me.
Oh, no. Did he ever send you the trophy, by the way? Did that ever get...
I said he can keep it because I thought it was the only one he's going to win, but by looking at it, I might have to send him a championship belt, a chain or two. I might have to send him something.
Well, right now, we are all in agreement. It is the Rebellion taking out the Fury of not one, but all 4 of those players that play on that squadron. So we will see if it comes to fruition. Our map number 1 is Regency. Jacob, I love this map. I love that initial Rose Garden fight. You get to see the push and the pull with the M-bar up top, the shock down at the bottom, of course, the early points, and ever looming, the over-rotation for hopefully the respawns for point number 2. Do you think either of these teams favor the rotation rather than the initial hill points?
I think it all depends on kind of what you're working with as a team. I think Rebel, at least out of the gate, they're going to favor the M-bar. They're going to favor the rotations and kind of slowly try to backtrack for the actual hill. I think Fury 1 is going to follow suit, but the strategy is really only valid and really you can execute it to the utmost efficiency is if you have a good M-bar player on your team, which we know Rebel does have. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it's Jalad, maybe Toady is trying to lead the reins in terms of that power weapon player, but there's not one person I specifically see time and time again able to possess and put to use that M-bar. So I think Rebel is going to play more in towards rotations, more in towards gathering the power weapons for the most part, and Fury 1, I think they're going to play a very, very heavily aggressive game, and I think that's one of the only ways they're going to be able to catch Rebel off guard.
We'll see if they do that. Again, when you come out on spawn, depending upon which side of the map you get to spawn from, which side of the map you deal with, this is going to be one of those situations where do you play for the initial points in the hill because you might have had that right-hand advantage going to the backside of the Rose Garden. Are you playing defensively, trying to hold your position? Mm-hmm. You know, I got to ask now, voice of God, because I know what teams we got and I know what rosters we got. Is it the one player I'm thinking of?
Don't say it. Don't say it. Oh.
Toady, thank you for being in your spot and being ready to play. A tip of the hat to you, good sir. A tip of the hat.
I'm just like, little do you know, Toady's just in the wrong spot and they are waiting on him.
I'd be asleep.
He's the new evolution. He's switching up the game just a little bit, just being in the wrong spot. Let somebody else take the flame. But honestly, you know as well as I do, there's only one reason. Only one reason I'm acceptable is if they're talking some sort of strategy, Colin. Hopefully they're talking out, figure out what to hold the game starting. Strategy's out the window. You guys better think now. Is the game actually starting now?
I just removed somebody from the lobby. My God, I got more power than I thought. I need to quit.
That's what you get for doing it without looking.
That's true. That's true. Here, I mean, hold on. Let's try it again. Here, hold on. I looked at that time.
I think he's back. He's joining. Yep, he's joining. He's joining. You let him in. You opened up the slot again. Thank you so much.
Oh, my God. So you don't like frosting, Jacob? Because Reflections is calling you out, by the way. You non-frosting lover, better keep my name out your mouth. Last time somebody said that, they walked up on stage and slapped somebody else, so you better be careful.
I'm about to hit him with Will Smith, because that's not a word of what I said. This man is understanding what he wants to hear, but it's Reflections, free flections. I can guess so. What I said was, if the cake needs frosting to be good, it's not a good cake, which is true. It's just like if your steak needs a good steak sauce in order to be good, it's probably not a good steak. You probably didn't season it right. Like, just like if your cake isn't good as cake and needs frosting to be good, probably not a good cake. The frosting is the added extra. It's the cherry on top. It's the sweet to what it is, the cake that should be good as is.
I'm going to fully agree with your sentiment, but I only respond with this. As a fat man, I have never found a bad cake.
Okay, but did the frosting has there ever been a bad cake that you've eaten where you're like, man, if it wasn't for the frosting, this would be bad?
No, because usually when you put cake in front of me, I'm like, it's a good cake. Tell you what, I'll be eating them up. You should have seen me last night with the cookie cake, baby. My wife got this comedically large cookie cake because I like comedically large cookie cakes for my birthday. It's just cookie cake. It's just like, imagine a giant soft chocolate chip cookie with frosting on it, like on the edges, and then it spells out my name. It's just comedically large, though. Like the size. Oh, never mind. I'm gonna have to ask my wife because I don't take.
Was it homemade
cake? I just eat it.
Was it homemade?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Which
makes it that much better.
It was crazy because she had to do
it
she had to do it in two sections because of how big it was. Like the bottom half of the semicircle, like this, because she could, even though we have a double oven, she couldn't fit it all in one oven. So she did like a top half of the semicircle and put it in the top oven, and the bottom half of the semicircle in the bottom oven, and then just put them next to each other and put like a dazzle of frosting across it.
This man has a double oven, and he said the cake was too big. He had to do it twice. You had to cook it twice.
No. She cooked each half. She had a double oven is like two ovens on top of each other, like this.
Okay.
Like you have an oven up top and an oven down low. And she took one half of the semicircle and put it in the bottom oven, and then she.
That still sounds like a big cake, regardless.
It was huge. I mean, it was massive. But as fat as I am, it didn't live. It didn't make it to today. All right. I was sitting there.
I want some cookie cake. I'm about to go get some cookie. I'll be back, Colin.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, while Jacob MVPR is gone, we're going to talk strictly about how handsome he is. So let's just get on the correct topic, get on the good foot. When you wake up in the morning, the only thing better than Folgers in your cup is to see Jacob MVPR in the mirror, because that means that'd be your reflection. You'd be as handsome as that man, like a devil. I'll tell you what, the man from top to bottom, left, right, and center, at least 11 and a half on a bad day, probably shooting for 13 or 14 on his mediocre days on a scale of 1 to 10. You know what I'm saying? Man is so hot that he could crisp up an egg just by being in the same room as it, just like Fury 1 is looking to crisp up Rebel in this initial.
That's what you got to do. You got to crisp him up real nice to get the nice crack at the end of it. And there goes 2 for him. Monkyz picking up 1. Kardia is going to fall in the middle, but that lets them know exactly where Ventries is at, and his ability to keep the frag grenades out of their hands is just as important.
Looking for the extra rotation here. Crack is going back into the middle of this Rose Garden. Kardia with a 1v1 here against Aim Boot. That's going to be a big little rotation by him, but he's going to get shot in the back and taken down. Early advantage over to Rebel through the points, but it looks like the side of Fury 1 is trying to take over the top half of the map.
Rebel right out of the gate, looking strong. You see the M-bar going over to Aim Boot, who gets it loose from downtown. Jala gets one as well. Ventry, he gets taken down, but once again, he puts some early damage onto Monkyz, and there goes the cleanup coming out from Aim Boot yet again. So a great start from Rebel. Answered back rather quickly, but the choice is Fury 1's. Do you bleed this one dry, get a possible 1-second lead, or do you try to play the game of rotations against Rebel, who is already set up on the defensive end?
Well, I think what Rebel's trying to do here is they get set up early. They're going to try to put him on the back foot. They're going to play out through the backside of the map and just force Fury 1 into some bad spots here. 3 shots left in the chamber of the M-bar. First shot missed there on to the side of one player from Rebel. Now looking for the body shot, gets chunked out. Now it looks like Rebel has gotten 2 or 3 down. They need one more inside of the hill, and with him getting snubbed out, He's all over. And this early initial, once again, Rebel just so incredibly quick to that initial, so incredibly quick to the take. They are going to be getting a bigger point lead by every moment.
This retake right here is going to be really telling of what Fury 1 can do on the defensive end to answer back a big play and a big start like that coming out from Rebel. Smokz coming in to try to cloud. It's not going to let Crack stop or slow down. He's going to get that first elimination, continue to put out damage, but finally he gets dropped over the top by Ventry, who also gets dropped. Trades left and right, but it's going to be Fury 1 who loses the majority of their members, putting the pressure onto Jala to try to come up big here. A down's going to come through, but no pickup on the elimination just yet. But Kardia, he's going to fall. The quick respawn goes on over to the Rebels, so this fight will continue, but it's Fury 1 who are figuring out a way to be the last team standing.
It's going to be Fury 1 inside of the hill now with the overtake. 30 seconds left. Could very much get it as close to tied up as possible here on P2. But I'm worried about Rebel's ability to maybe retake and then rotate. This is going to be Kardia at the backside of the T-table trying to hold down the M-bar. Two big shots come out of third, connects, but no downs for him. This is going to be a flash from Monkyz. Trying to answer back, but look at the respawns in from Fury 1. They've got the better angle, the 90-degree angle, looking straight across the front side of this T-table, and they're going to close in and pinch in on the last few players from Rebel. They want this new M-bar, and they want it now.
Fortunately enough, they're not going to be able to get it, but you see them figure out who they trust. Toady handing that M-bar on over to Zhao. They know who the workhorse is going to be when it comes towards those power weapons. And luckily for them, they're able to at least get the high ground, get the spawn point, but it's going to be a race to try to get the actual hill location, which it's not going to be an easy one for either team to grab.
Now looking for the next rotation here. It's going to be Jalad backside of this hill. Looking for them to be able to settle the tea kettle of multiple players. Jalad with a headshot, back-to-back headies to be exact. Crack now might be the third player to feel the wrath of Jalad. He is indeed going to go down. Pulls the M-bar, goes for a body shot there, but Toady already killing Xploidz, watching Crack bleed out in front of him. And this could be Fury 1's opportunity to get a significant lead here with plenty of time left on this hill. A good, clean team wipe, and now they're just settling in for the next rotation.
Yep. You saw Fury 1, they were able to kind of at least stagger out some of the time on that last corner hill that Rebel had so much control over. Now we're going to see what Rebel can do on the back foot, trying to answer back, but Kardia gets chopped down miles away. Damage being put out early on to the remaining players. The Rebel trying to insert themselves into the hill. Xploidz is going to fall, and you can see every other member that was left staggered around the map has to play for next. They really have no other choice, but with frag grenades coming up, shock grenades shortly after, at least there's something for them to focus on.
See what Monkyz does here, looking across at two players. He's going to get squished here in a moment. Shot off on the top and maybe the bottom right in front of him. Goes for a little roadie strafe action here. Love that little roadie slide cancel. And now he goes to the bottom side of the stairwells as he is full red. He's going to try to go onto the left-hand side. Try to start the pincer in toward P3. One player from Fury 1 is down, and now the second player is already dead on the map, so it's 2v4. Xploidz looking to try to get one shot here on a Ventry. Won't be able to get that one. Slides in Ventry with a double kill. That is absolutely massive and creates a 3v2 on the map right now.
I heard Fran in the background. Nah, that can't happen. You cannot let a player, let alone one singular player, do that to really turn the tides, because he was able to stay alive, throw out the utility, and really disperse the players so that they can get not one, but two more eliminations added on to the end bar, added on to the hill time, which had over 60 seconds left at one time or another. So it's really going to put Rebel on the back foot yet again, forced to dig deep in their pockets and figure out some sort of a game plan.
Jalad, 3 shots left. Going for a reload here momentarily. Looking for an angle. Sees the mark onto Crack.
Hostile.
And now needs to find this shot across the map. This could be brilliance. Highlight reel style action here. Also sees the mark on Kardia at the middle of the stairwell. Rebel, to me, has done a pretty good job here of just keeping out of the sight lines, but they're losing the point differential department, and that's the worrying thing. And there it is. Jalad, another headshot comes through. I think that's 3 in the last 2 minutes I've seen from him.
Like their choices, stay out of the sight lines, unable to contest the hill, or get into the sight lines of Jalad, get taken out by the M-bars. Monkyz trying to go for a flank. He gets spotted out, taken down along with Crack, which gives a wide numbers advantage with both players already weak. Aim boot cleans up one. Kardia is going to fall on the other as Fury 1 will continue their dominance here in map number 1.
Beautiful map 1 for Fury 1. They have done such a fantastic job of putting everybody from Rebel on notice. After that initial point number 1, they have not given up any positioning over to the side of Rebel, and Fury 1 has done such a fantastic job, such a beautiful job here. Holding onto this position, and they're going to continue to hold on to it until this next hill spawns up, because there's 45 seconds, and I mean, you've either got to come down a long hallway and get lancered out, or you're going to come up some short stairs and get nashered out. Your choice at any given moment.
This is a big flank, because now that's going to be able to discombobulate the frag grenades coming out from Monkyz. In fact, he's going to be able to get 0 kills with 3 players making it 4 here, with Crack going down. A full-on squad wipe. Fury 1 over Rebel. They're going to be able to get the M-bar yet again. You see the shot grenade up for grabs, which is going to go in the hands of Toady when he finally makes his rotation over. Because if you look at the minimap, Rebel, they're not going ahead and trying to grab position and ground around the map. They're turtling back onto the next hill.
Turtling back across the map, trying to get set up for P5 over here. But one player is waiting on the new M-bar. I think it was Ventry. No, 3 shots left on it at the back of the T-table, excuse me. He shared some ammo here with Jalid. Jalid with 3 shots of his own to use. Crack to the backside of the close respawn, not the close side of the next hill, close side of the new respawn. A headshot here would be quite convenient. Watching that player bounce around and hits him in the back, doesn't need a heady, as they did enough damage for him to get the single shot chunk. Now looking for a heady onto Kardia, and Jalid has played picture perfect up to this point in map number 1.
The swap X play of the game goes to when Ventry picked up the M-bar and gave bullets on over to Jalid, who's continuing to really prove that he is the difference maker here overall for Fury 1 over Rebel, who has not seemed to get a footing over the map. But to me, that goes to show that Identives, whether if he was getting eliminations on the map or not, he was a huge defining factor over the roster. With their backs now up against the wall, they have to dig deep on a plan B about what they want to do. Missed shots from the M-bar is going to allow them to push forward, but shot grenades, flashes as well, is going to stop them in their tracks for just a little bit, with Kardia getting multiple kills, along with Monkyz trying to get one as well, is going to put them in a good spot.
Now we're going to see Monkyz get lancered out from the front side by Aimboot. Aimboot continuing to add damage here in this situation, but he's going to get flanked out by Crack. He goes down. That gives them the chance to alleviate the pressure from both sides. Try to get some points back in their favor. 230 to 115, by the way. So it is a ton of time left in this game for Rebel if they want to try to get back into it and try to get a victory. But with plays like that from Xploidz, it is not looking good, my friend.
Yeah, right now you can see that it's just working like a full cohesive unit. Fury 1, the 1 needs 1 person, 1 man, 1 team, and they're working together as one, as Crack's being forced back, frag grenades being dished out, but he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Damage coming out from Jalid still in the middle, and Jalid's only backing up right now, Colin, because he knows that hill is going back to the start, back on over to Rose Garden, and the point gain must continue.
Point gain continues on for Fury 1. Only 1 player holding down the defensive strategy here. He's gonna throw a flash. Get M-barred at, but no chunk out. I mean, the way Jalid is playing right here, it's going to take 3 people to take him out. They finally get him to go. 54 seconds for a victory for Fury 1. But a ton of time for Rebel to get their victory. Xploidz with a headshot there will settle the tea kettle of 1 player. Aimboot now working in conjunction with Jalid and Toady through the middle of the map. Toady's going to get lancered out for just a moment. Unsure what comes of this after that big body shot on the Jalid gets that kill. The flank from Toady. The flank from Toady onto Xploidz might be able to upset the balanced order. 1v1 over the hill. Aimboot plays it picture perfectly on the right hand, and he might be Academy Clayton. He might still be fresh to the Coalition of Ordered Government's army, but he ain't playing like it is game black.
Oh, they literally dissect the players 1 by 1. Aimboot bleeding a dry to inch themselves that much closer. And I was thinking it's going to take 3, 4, possibly even 5 consecutive team fights to be won by Rebel in order for them to even tie the game up. But with that one going over to Fury 1, they need to win every single team fight from here on out. Otherwise, it's going to be lights out in map 1.
They got to play pretty picture perfectly here, Jacob, and that is never an easy ask of any team. I don't care who it is. You got to be perfect from this point forward. Curious to see how close they can get it if they do get it very close. you always kind of look for a team to try to get over that 200-point marker. You want to see that kind of fight out of them. You want to see that kind of back and forth, that kind of scrappiness. All 4 players from Fury 1 kind of knotted up here toward this back corner. Jalad with a Kermit shot gets one, and now Jalad moving in for the second. He's got the help from Aim Boot. The first kill comes through, though. Trying to get a secondary. It's going to be Xploidz in the hill, trying to be as precise and as pretty as possible. But with 30, now 20 seconds to go, this could be all over but the crying.
You see Cracks already checking out before it comes to an end. Miracle effort's going to be needed with 10 seconds left. Monkyz trying to line up the shots. Kardia finally gets taken out. It's all up to 2. Unable to even inch themselves closer to the hill. It's going to look like Fury 1 by surprise. Going to take out Rebel in map number 1 and give themselves a momentous lead.
I mean, Aim Boot might have been our player to watch, but my goodness gracious, if Jalad didn't give us a reason to watch him that whole entire map 1. Jalad, you're a map MVP after a scintillating, sensational performance, and most of it coming way of that incredible M-bar play.
And you can see it through and through. It's Fury 1. Like I said, I thought it was going to be Rebel through rotations, being able to keep the team guessing and not really let themselves kind of solidify a position. But it was Fury 1 on the other hand, that proactive gameplay, the calculated aggression from one hill to the next, controlling the N-bar and the rest of the power weapons, and the successful fights to keep the numbers on their side really caught Rebel and I think everybody off guard.
Caught me off guard. I was sitting here in the back of my seat and said to myself, man, if Jalad's going to keep playing like this, they're going to win this map. And then I said, if Fury 1 keeps playing like this, they're going to win this series. This is going to be impressive to see. I said my prediction was I'm waiting to be disappointed again. Here we go. We're on the same road. Jacob, what is it about Rebel that they either play up to their competition or down to it?
I just feel like it's a lot of the same illnesses a lot of teams have that are good, but they're not quite there just yet. They're on the cusp of being the superstar roster, but they just cannot find it. It's that IGL, somebody that's been around for such a long time. And honestly, I think it's one of the reasons why Rise is finally following suit. It's Vexies along with Affinity, really the experience they bring to the table. And I think Fury 1, even though they did add Toady, a great IGL, a great leader, he's only really being IGL and a leader for such a short time when you look at Gears Esports as a whole.
I mean, I remember I said it to him yesterday. My man ended up, sending me some well wishes, and something I said to him is it felt like just yesterday I was drooling over that Nimbus roster in Gears 4, and I mean, just look at the talent that came out of that roster: a Demise, a Toady, a TJ. That squadron had it all, a Tidy even. I mean, my man Twinkle Toes, as God Blazing I like to call him when he was in a 1v1. That roster has developed some incredible players. Toady deserves to be spoken of in that rare air for what he's able to do for every roster he steps foot on. And Fury 1 to me has done a great job, an incredible job of learning and understanding kind of the concept of playing with their aggression, playing with their setups, and leaning into it. As much as I want to see the give and take, we saw the give and take in that map. As good as they were at the retake, they were equally as good as the set down. They said, look, we got the hill. We're going to have one player fight outside of it, try to take a 1v1 while we rotate around, get an M-bar shot here, get some Lancer fire there, give them a better situation to get that kind of victory on. So I'm incredibly impressed with the way Fury 1 played that map 1. Going into this map 2, if they can keep that kind of momentum, it's going to be scary sights for Rebel.
Yeah, because honestly, when we looked at the picks and bans and figured out what the map cycle was actually going to be, I thought Rebel would have kind of their map picks. I think they won the picks and bans, but boy, was I wrong. Fury 1 steals that one away. Now we go to Checkout, which is honestly one of the most chaotic maps. It's very, very hard to convincingly round after round, second after second, have teamwork, 4-man in, 4-man out. And that's where I thought Fury 1 would really have that standing chance to really just bring the aggression on over to Rebel. And now it's where I'm concerned that Rebel losing map number 1, they don't have the teamwork down. Crack giving up towards the very end, even though it was going to be very, very hard for him to win that exchange and make something of that play, you still don't want to have your teammates give up. So now, well, even though I picked Rebel, I'm actually really, really concerned about how this one is going to go down, especially with the momentum and the confidence really exuberating from this Fury 1 roster.
Especially if it boils down to kind of that platform fight. If it's just a headbutt over that platform fight, when you've got confidence, Jacob, you know it better than anybody. When you're feeling your shot and you've got confidence in Gears, there is no reason to fear anyone on God's green earth, because you are just going to take every fight and you're going to feel like you're going to hit every pellet of every spread and you're going to try to put people down.
Yeah, you're going to have that confidence to make those riskier moves, even though those risky moves come at a price. You go down in the wrong position. That can almost give up a round to your opponent. But it's also those same risky moves that we see players make that they really turns the tide. You're able to get some extra damage. You're able to get it down, get elimination, position, power weapon. There's so much for these players to grab when you make that risky move that more times than not, it does work out from if everybody's on the same page.
Well, if everybody wants to be on the same page, as sounding as good and as crispy as Jacob MVPR and myself, you better get yourself over to bluemic.com and get yourself one of the official mic partners of Gears Esports. These baby bottles have served me quite well for quite some time, and if I do say so myself, I sound not but so stupid.
I don't want to say it was stupid, but I don't even know what they were thinking on the side of Rebel. Ventry went in, and as quick as he went in, he took a player out, putting Kardia on the back foot. And a quick round, if you blink, you might have missed it. 23 seconds, but Colin, that doesn't surprise me, because this is exactly what we both kind of said that we were going to see when it comes to checkout.
God help us all if I see a tweet from Rebel after this one.
Oh.
I mean, this is going to be one of those bad situations, those bad scenarios. 23 seconds is not a good look in a round number one, Jacob. You are not going to feel good about your chances going further in this situation with that kind of time limit on that first round. Coming in round two here, there's going to be Xploidz picking up the fragmentations, trying to reset his health, trying to reset the damage on himself, and give himself at least a chance to throw him out here, but the kills coming back and forth. 3v4 on favor of Rebel. Now a bigger kill comes through, and this could get a little dicey as Fury 1 now goes up into 3v2.
Crack running through the ensign right into two players' hands. They immediately throw that round away. They don't let Kardia with those frag grenades a chance to rotate back, especially that it was aim boot flying through the plat side, flying across enemy lines. It was the first elimination overall. They really let that round slip through their fingers. And on the side of Rebel, I was already concerned coming into this match, and with those first two rounds, I'm even more so concerned.
It's only going to get uglier from here if they cannot get a solidified victory on any of these rounds. Coming into this next spot, it's going to be Smokz out, dropping into the platform. Ventry's going to be stunned out. Secondary flash lands right at his feet, and Rebel, they're trying to fly across the bottom of the map. They got to wake up, and could this be the wake-up call that they need? Monkyz finds a headshot there. Crack is going to rotate back. They're going to settle back in and try to make this a 4v2, but now that Monkyz is down, will it be a 3v3 before you know it?
They go for the revives, but Toadi's working out towards the wide, towards the plat side to try to get the downs, but the rest of his team going for the eliminations. They just going up A into a couple of those shots. Great overall effort from Fury 1, though. Even though they were on the back foot, they did not give up any single portions of the round, but Rebel did a good job of just striking hot and striking first. It was Monkyz who was the MVP of that round.
Monkyz getting across that back ledge as fast as he did, able to put the shots on the way that he was. Just gave them that decided damage advantage to get that first kill and to rotate back out of that. Coming into round number 4, will they continue on that warpath? Will they continue to be able to knot it up here 2-2? Xploidz with a pick on the fragmentations. Aim boot with the incendiaries. Long shot pick by Jalid. Jalid was incredible with the M-bar. He'd be just as good with the long shot. Misses the first one right of Monkyz. Now the incendiary deep over the top of Monkyz. They're going to rotate across the bottom side of the lanes. Looking for an extra pick. Sees Monkyz hop the top and won't be able to get the shot. Looks to get back up onto the platform and put damage out on somebody from Rebel. Misses another shot here, Jacob, and it looks like the M-bar might be his specialty.
Yep. Something about like having to charge up the shots and making a couple players nervous. As it does charge up. 4v4, power weapons in his hand. This is where, honestly, the choice is his. They just need to figure out a player that they want to single out. And I think that player should be Monkyz on the other side of the map. Try to get aggressive, get him out of position. Worst comes to worst, Colin, you're forcing Xploidz from another position on the map to try to use those frags to keep him alive. And if you look at where Xploidz is positioned, it's in towards that electronic. So he'd have to give up a huge power position just to keep Monkyz alive.
Rotating to the left here with a teammate. looking in for somebody to maybe stick their head up through the glass. Gets the mark up there, but I mean, that glass bulletproof enough to keep the cake warm, but not let bullets through is a beautiful thing in the back of the electronics here. Photo center, excuse me. Look at that shot. They're gonna get that first down. Toadi's gonna get revived quickly. I believe a nade came flying out at him. Doesn't find that pick either. 4v4. Overtime hill in 15 seconds. You can see where it's marked up and pops out, but Aim Boot's gonna get traded out there. 4v2 because they get the revive as well. 5 shots left. Looking for a head. He won't be able to find that one. And Toady now, front side of the lane. Gonna hop the top, looking for a shot on a crack. Won't be able to get that one. Toady gets flanked out by Kardia, and that will be the second round, over to Rebel. And it is the first sign of life as we're all tied up now.
You can see it. I want to say it was Jala. Don't know who that trying to peek in through that electronics door. They need to be able to single out these players. Then as soon as Aimboot hopped it into the middle, trying to lend that helping hand, he put himself into a bad spot. So it's everybody in this round from Fury 1 trying to be the heroes, but they end up zeros. They end up eliminated with Rebel winning back-to-back rounds.
Coming out in the next round, will Rebel continue on their path of destruction here, or will they lose out this round to Fury 1? Everybody back over to the platform here. It's going to be Jalad going on the flank to the 90 degree. Gets a big shot over the top, but gets chunked out by Kardia. Kardia, though, gets answered back against by Ventry, and a second player drops. It's going to be Xploidz. 3v2 on the map now. Aimboot with a big shot there on the Monkyz. Beautiful round and beautiful answer by Fury 1.
Yeah, Fury 1, I feel like, is surprising even me. A team that I thought was going to kind of lean towards on the heavy aggression as individuals are working together, even more so as a team. You see them baiting and switching, making sure that these players overstep their boundaries, but even when they're on the back foot, they make sure nobody feels alone in any of these situations. Even when they got to go forward, they know the backup is there in terms of Lancer, in terms of pistol, to try to keep these players' heads down. So going into this round, it's going to be very, very important to Rebel to try to keep this one tied up.
Shots on, full red. We see one player just trying to hold out this mid lane. It's going to be Crack. We're going to go over to the platform now where Kardia, bottom of the platform, tries to go for a left-handed wrap. Goes for a second, doesn't hit either of them. No damage done. Crack finally hits a back A to at least get one chunk out. 2v3 on the map right now. Kardia trying to help one player, the last player. It's going to be Xploidz at the mid lane, and he hasn't hit a shot in what feels like forever. He gets taken out by Ventry. 2 rounds back over to the side of Fury 1. They lead it 4-2 and are well on their way to a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, already you saw from those first 2 rounds where they were able to win, you saw Rebel kind of strike back 2 rounds of their own, but since then it's been all Fury 1 all the way. And this is where I want to see them go back to that strat. Shredding Kardia out for the frags. You have to really try to trap these players in. You cannot let Aimboot get away with those heroic plays that he did in those few rounds prior.
Incoming smoke!
Smokz coming out. Crack to the backside of the lane has been marked out. Shot over the top, trying to get that chunk, but there's the flank out from Fury 1. Toady finds one. 3v2. Body shots on 2 players, but Crack is full red. Now down, now dead. 5-2.
You saw Crack, 2 different players there. Put a lot of damage onto one, but immediately switched targets. And that's what happens when you're not necessarily on the same page like you've seen Rebel from the first map. The target selection just hasn't been there. I don't know if it's a lack of communication, a lack of just overall awareness of the situation, but they need to start picking it up here because now they're not only on map point, but they're in danger of going down 2-0.
Right on death's door nail. This is going to be Lancer Fire across the top. Smokz out. Monkyz in mid lane, gets flanked by Ventry. Ventry pulls the snub, going to try to help his teammates get finishing downs. 3v3 at a moment. Beautiful job. There's the incendiary by Toady. Gets another kill. 3v2 and 2 players left to kill for the final blow and the final nail in the coffin of this map number 2. Kardia, last one alive, and even summoning the power of reciprocity in your Nasher will not save you now. That will be the end of the map, and this matchup is well in favor of Fury 1. We are going to take this one into a commercial break with Fury 1 leading it 2-0. Can they get a clean sweep? Can they finish it off? If you want to find out, you better come back right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gears Pro League. We are in the middle of our second matchup of the day, where Rebel, they have come out flat, looking like they are the Emperor, and Fury 1 is looking to take over the throne as they're up 2-0. Jacob, what can you say has gone wrong for Rebel?
Absolutely everything under the sun. They don't have the teamwork there. They don't have a leader. There's nobody kind of being that driving force for the roster. It almost seems like they're playing without a purpose, playing without life, like they've given up here in this matchup, which is actually surprisingly enough because they upset E United just a few weeks ago. So the history of this roster, the history of the team of inconsistencies continues. So it's honestly, one week they look like they want to play, the next week they look like they want to end things early and go right back out to dinner.
I hope they don't got no dinner. Well, they could still have dinner plans tonight.
Depends on where you're from.
I mean, it depends on which side you voted for. But I'll tell you right now, Vasgar could be a big turning point in my opinion, because I just look at that map and we've seen it before. You get up 2-0, you go to Vasgar, you get beat pretty handedly on that map, and you fall to pieces for 4 and 5. I don't know if that's the story in the song and dance we gonna see tonight, but I'm sure somebody in the base of Rebel has got a certain couple of quarters they're trying to put in that jukebox.
This is like the Titanic, Colin. We're going down here. The ship is definitely sinking right now because we're going over to Vasgar. Watching Rise play on this map early on teach you nothing. It's all about aggression. It's all about being on the same page. And that is what Fury 1 is doing to close to perfection right now. So unless Rebel wake up from their slumber and they're a whole different roster than what we've seen throughout the first 2 maps, we're going to have a quick series number 2.
Speaking of the Titanic, Jacob, are you a big believer in the theory that Jack misspeaks twice in that movie and mentions things that don't even exist until at least after the Titanic has sank? So he's actually a time traveler and he went back in time, falls in love with Rose, which is what causes the Titanic to hit the iceberg that day?
I can see this being a movie. I don't know what you're talking about, but I can see this like the Titanic Dark Ages or something where you see what really happened behind the scenes and why the ship really sunk.
If you let me get on a rant about movie theories and conspiracies, baby, I'll be like the famous quote.
What's another one?
About an old movie?
Yeah, Titanic's old. Older than me, I feel like. Not exact.
Came out in the late 90s.
Almost.
Okay, almost older than you. Way younger than I am. I'll tell you what, boy. The only thing older than me is the dirt we're standing on, and it gets jealous of how good I look for my age, boy. Come on now. Another one of my favorite conspiracy theories is that Scaramanga, the villain from The Man with the Golden Gun, is actually he's actually in love with Bond and he's not trying to kill Bond. Even though he shoots like the fake Bond and he gets in the duel, he wants that Bond. He wants to feel close to him, and it's not like he wants to kill him. He wants to be with him instead. He wants to love him. And it's a really long conspiracy about how, Scaramanga, even though he's this great assassin, he'd rather, spread love around the world because he brings famous people to his island all the time. He wines and dines them. They leave the island, and it's just he spread love and joy except for the people that are his targets. Crazy.
Sounds like Peacemaker. It sounds like Peacemaker to me.
That show is underrated. That show was underrated. I love that show.
Bro, you cannot see Peacemaker
not at all.
Any way, shape, or form. But honestly, from Titanic to Peacemaker to everything, there's always conspiracy theories, and nothing is as what it seems. Just like Fury 1. Not what it seems coming into this match, but you give them a chance to play it out. They're going to show you exactly what we've been missing all split long.
You trying to get me in trouble with conspiracy theories, Jacob. I see what you're doing. You're trying to make people think that I'm crazy out here. And I ain't crazy, all right? I got a couple tinfoil hats around the room, but I ain't crazy, okay? I drank tap water when I was a kid. I'm immune to it all. I swear for God.
I get it. Tap water builds character.
It does.
It builds character. It lets you guys know if you could drink tap water, you can get through anything in life.
Well,
depending on where you're from.
I swear, folks, you come from the backwoods of Virginia, it'd make you immune to most things. God only knows what came out of that tap in them days. We're going into Vasgar, Jacob, the horse track, as I like to call it sometimes, and I think this is going to be one of those situations where Rebel, they have to start out hot and heavy early. They've got to get quick kills, and they've got to go up 2, 3, 4 rounds in a row to try to get a dominating map 3 win.
Yep, it's going to be very, very hard, and honestly, for the roster of Rebel, it starts right here in this first exact round. You fall down flat just like you did in round number 1 of Checkout. It kind of leads people to believe that nothing will change from map to map. No adaptations are going to be introduced. So it's going to be hard for them to kind of battle back. But even if you do lose the first round, you show attributes of teamwork. You show the ability to show discipline. I think that's going to let people believe that maybe a comeback is possible.
This is going to be a, it'll be an interesting situation because, again, we talk about the power weapons that get placed down at tank or the helicopter. We talk about how everybody, you know, deals with that horse track, that quick rotation around the map. Do you take the 3v2 with the homes? Do you take the 2v2 or the 2v1 over at the neutral hill? This is going to be an interesting situation because the way that they have played thus far in this matchup, Fury 1 has not really given up anything over to the side of Rebel. I mean, they're playing like this is for the finality of something. This is for the finality of a situation or like a top 3 placement, a top 2 play, whatever it may be.
Yeah, the only thing I will say that I think Rebel can have some glimmer of hope is throughout all the chaos of the first 2 maps, we haven't really seen a defensive Fury 1. We haven't seen a team have to hold on to 2 hills and kind of accumulate some sort of score total. It's been run and gun on control, run and gun on checkout. There's been no moments where they would have to stabilize themselves and wait around for a team like Rebel to try to make a mistake. And I think that in itself could open up a window of opportunity for Rebel if Fury 1 tries to do too much around the map.
Here we go in round number 1. 2v2 on the C side with a 1v1 in the middle of the map. Opposite end of it, it'll be a 1v1 over B. Stalemates across the map. It's just going to be taking your fight and trying to win it. The flash comes out by Ventry, flies at his opponent, goes for the shot over the top. Won't be able to find that one, so continuing forward in this situation. Will they be able to get a victory here? Or will it simply just boil down to winning your fights? And right now it looks like Rebel is winning their fights definitively.
Left, right, and center. Gonna hold my breath there just to see if he was gonna be able to make it back into the hill at the top side of the map, but that's gonna be Rebel just dominating on all different ends. And that's what I'm saying. That's one thing you haven't been able to see is Fury 1 set up as a team. You split them up, you take them out one by one, just like you saw. That's gonna make it for some quick rounds.
Let's see what happens. Do they place that? We're probably going to see Bolt. There's no way we don't see net Boltox right here. Ain't no way nobody's going to take that advantage. Nobody's going to go, let's put a long shot down after round 1, especially Crack. Crack, like, give me that Boltox.
Throw a boom shot. Throw a drop shot and tank. Come on. It's never going to happen, though.
They took out the claw from Escalation, and these weapon placements got boring to me. I need them to just put it all down, and let's play 9 rounds with all the weapons already there.
Give me the Lancer, Geo.
Yeah, actually that spawns in ranked Vasgar. Those both spawn.
I know. Give me both of those. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a highlight reel of somebody just going off with the breaker mace?
One of the cool things that they did for the breaker was they added the ability to shoot it down while it's on your back. So if you're just stuck in cover for too long, people can just lancer the actual mace itself and break it off your back.
Good. We needed that. We definitely needed that as Toady gets that first elimination onto Xploidz. Crack soon to follow, but Monkyz and Kardia making the saving play to keep him alive. Now Toady has to about face, try to run and survive here, but there's only so much time he's going to be able to do by himself. It's Ventry who really is able to outlast and buy all the time for the squad cap.
I'm going to say, you know, Toady watched his 2 teammates jump into the loving arms of those Nashers and probably was asking his teammates, what in the hell?
What in the hell was that? What are you guys doing over there? And Jalo said the same thing. What in the hell are you guys doing? Y'all made this so easy for me. I'm going to continue to hold forward. My teammate can do it by himself. It's about the decap that he's after to try to keep the 2 hills to 1 because you can see in your mini-map that it's Xploidz who gets the decap on the neutral hill.
Well, here we go with the next set of rotations. 2-to-1 hill advantage in favor of Fury 1. They have a very good angle at this as well, in my opinion, where they're able to just kind of pressure forward here. Xploidz is going to drop that flash at his feet. He's going to try to continue to bounce, take this fight. He's going to get taken down. Toady's going to go for the wrap shot around the cubby. Won't be able to get it. Jalen in a 2v1 now. Gets chunked out as well. And Jacob, I'm sorry for that delay, but I was just making sure that he did die because I've seen him in that spot before, and I've seen him back ace somebody on a wrap shot and just turn him into pieces.
I'm gonna dust like Thanos just snapped. No, I get you. Sometimes when back is up against the wall, all a dog can do instead of just bark is bite. And that's what Monkyz gonna do on the other side of the map. He's looking for somebody to spot out. Monkyz one of the most feared 1v1 players. A down's gonna come through on the other side of the map. That's gonna alleviate pressure because that's gonna force everybody from Rebel to try to backtrack to try to stay alive on their 1 hill.
Coming into the next fight, it's going to be Monkyz being led by a teammate's flash grenade. Big shots out. L triggers the bound. He's going to get that first down. Won't be able to get the finish. Pulls the snub to try to get a secondary finish. Continues to add in damage, but a misstep from Jalen. I think he might have thought that player was going to get hopped and killed on the drop, but instead he doesn't. He just simply goes down and gets taken out after he hits the body and the floor. 1v1 here at the A-Hill. Aimboot trying to take it. Gets forced to slide into Kardia's right hand. Easy shot for him to connect and land. It'll be a 2-1 Hill advantage in favor of Rebel, but they are still down about 40 to 50 points.
Oh, and how the turntables. On the other foot. You see the win condition, though, still over towards Fury 1. And they're putting all their eggs into this basket. 3v3 for now. You see the spot on the final member trying to move in. That's going to allow for Crack to try to get a flank if he can take down Aimboot. But this 3v3 is important with Jalad going down. Window of opportunity open. Ventry's going to fall. There goes Aimboot trying to stretch across the map. But he's going to need more than just a cap in this situation because everything comes crumbling down to Fury 1 all over the map.
Now we see what they're able to do with the final downs coming through. Can Fury 1 get a cap back in their favor with 11 seconds to go, 11 points to go. Triple cap domination being stopped by Jalad, stepping into the C-Hill, trying to get a cap of his own, but Ventry flies in, tries to go for the revive and the finish on two different players, but won't be able to get it. Cap being decapped. This should be it. Rebel will win back-to-back rounds and go up 2-0 in map 3.
That is one way to kind of save the round overall. 142 to 84 at one point. Fury 1 was leading, but you can go ahead and see how quick and aggressive these teams are playing. It just takes one misstep, one player in the wrong position for them to give up everything, not only the eliminations, but the hills soon to follow. And that's where it goes to show that sometimes you can have all the skill in the world, but if you don't make the right play at the right time, it means absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing, my man Jacob says. He's letting you know you got to make the right plays at all times. Not just the right time, but at all times. And they will see if they can continue that momentum here in this round as everybody's getting marked out early as we roll out of spawn. It's going to be a 3v2 toward the C-Hill. Once they finally rotate that player over, 1v1 over at B. Maybe Crack will lean over and help. That's going to be a good flash by Ventry. First shot connects. Stunned back. That's going to be an up A attempt, but Ventry settles the tea kettle of Xploidz after the bounce fest and the final shot. 3v2 now, enacted by Fury 1 here at the C-Hill.
You can see immediately everybody converging on the top side of the map. As soon as they smell some sort of advantage, they use that as green light and they go. They turn one advantage into the next, staggering out these players one after another. Crack is able to be the last stand for Rebel, keep them alive and get the decap for now, but how long can he do so? Help is on the way for both of these teams. Xploidz versus Toady. They're trying to lock down the neutral. Toady's staying alive though, buying time for his team. Even though he's going to fall, you're going to see what effect it does around the map.
Now we see here is getting back into the hill. It's going to be Kardia capping up his own hill, forcing Aimboot back up into that stairwell at the luggage. Monkyz will pressure out Aimboot with the Lancer damage. Won't be able to get the down. Will put a decent amount of damage out, though. Ventry joining Aimboot as well at the top side of the luggage. Rotating back Kardia, along with Monkyz. Quick little revive there. Third player rotating over. They got to play defense here. And the better defense they play, the easier it'll be for their squad to get a victory. Looks like they're going to just rotate on over toward B, try to help their teammates take the 2v1 at Jalad at the A-Hill, but I think they've allowed Fury 1 to have too much time to set up.
Yeah, they did, but look at Fury 1's baiting them in, but they bait him in just a little too much. Jalad goes down. Ventry goes down as well. No one could try to turn and save him. On the other side of the map, they got Aimboot going down. They have him pincered. They have him pinched, and all they need is this one last hill underneath their control, which they're going to get here, barring any miracles coming out from Jalad, who needs to not only take out one, but 3 different players in order to make this miracle come true.
Looking to try to get this triple cap off. They do just that. 3-0. Rebel is really rolling now on map 3, and this is what I was afraid of for Fury 1. 2 really incredible first maps, only to be answered back by Rebel here on map 3, making life miserable for Fury 1 fans. And they're doing it in pretty quick, succinct fashion as well.
And this is how you plant that seed in their head, seed of doubt going into maps number 4 and possibly maps number 5. If you do find a way to close out this one, because what we've seen throughout the first 2 is Fury 1's quick act and quick aggression throughout the first control and execution was their recipe for success. Now that they can't strike as quick and strike as fast on these multiple hill style game mode, it's making it much harder for that, not only them to win the fights, but continue that wolf pack mentality that they've used throughout the first 2.
and just dominate the numbers game, which is what they also used in the first two. Just really putting themselves in the best possible situation using their numbers, whether it be in the execution in the 4v1s or 4v2s, or that control where they were able to just control the pacing as well into that tank fight. Multiple players from Rebel trying to get up into position, maybe quick pick, but a beautiful shots from Lancers, not giving up any positions here. One down comes out, but now a second comes out. Xploidz trying to save his teammates. Gets at least one kill, but it looks like the favorable matchup will go toward Fury 1 for now. Monkyz in a 2v1. Will he get either of these kills? No, he won't, and the triple cap domination sounds off. Fury 1 find their first round here in round number 4.
And because of that Fury 1 strategy right out of the gate, selling Jalad from the top side of the map to at least capture the home hill, that made that tank fight a must-win fight, or at least a must-not-lose fight. Staying alive, keeping it neutralized. On the side of Rebel, just unfortunately enough, it wasn't able to come to fruition. They tried to press forward, grab the M-bar, and everything underneath the control, which ultimately was their demise.
Coming here, first round of the second half, ladies and gentlemen. The new neutral hill, the two swapped home hills. Still a big team fight to be had over at the tank. We know that they will be continuing the pressure there to keep that power weapon hopefully in their favor. Looks like we're going to break out maybe a 3v3 on this side of the map. Not a ton of action just yet, but now the 1v1 will ensue between Monkyz and Jalad, and it is now won by Monkyz.
And that puts pressure on the other side of the map, even if it's not for them to go forward. Now they know they cannot necessarily go forward if that was a plan that they were thinking of. They have to wait for the player to respawn back up and get the information on where Monkyz is at. And you can already see in your minimap, Toady turning, trying to spot these players out. And there goes a misstep with aim boot. That's going to stagger them even longer. With 2 hills to 1, it's all about point game for Rebel at this point.
Ooh. Rebel looking to continue their path to dominance in the 2v1 hill selection, but the incendiary of Toady will light up Kardia, and now with a man advantage over there, they're going to pressure out toward Crack. Crack playing to the backside of the D hill. Will play back into the spawn, but Monkyz waiting in the wings, finds 1 kill. Now looks to find a secondary here. Does indeed. Wins a 2v1 on the opposite side of the map with a little sneak kill to start it. If they can just collapse on D, get the final 2 kills here, and get the triple cap domination in their favor, which that down will pretty much guarantee, except now this pressure is back on Monkyz. He gets it down, but can't get the chunk. He goes down as well. Triple cap evaded for now.
Yeah, because that 2v1 early on that Monkyz was able to win, that put such a point total on the back of Rebel that they're going to win off of 1 hill regardless if that second one is going to be decapped or not. So Fury 1 has to put a triple neutralization game plan underway, and they don't have a ton of time to make it because you see the win condition, 30 seconds. It's all it's going to take for Fury 1 to lose this round.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to see everybody stepping out into the next fight. Toady bouncing around the luggage, waits for the back A out there by Kardia. Hits a pretty big shot. Excuse me, not Kardia, Xploidz. Hits a pretty big shot, then hits the secondary for the kill. 2 players inside of the E hill for Fury 1. Looking to get a 2-to-1 hill advantage and then continue to pressure out toward the home hill of Rebel. 1 player waiting in the wings. I think we have to see what Crack does here. Is Crack able to enact a single kill there onto Ventry? Because that's his whole job, is to stop that player from going on the flank. 1 player left alive there at the home hill. Now a 2nd player joining the fight. Crack is going to send him away and will have bought enough time for his teammates to win the fight at the D hill thus far. Ladies and gentlemen, will this be it? Will it be 4-1 in just a moment? It's going to be anyway, because the E hill's going to get capped up and Ventry can't do a damn thing about it.
5 seconds is all it takes. Aim boot trying to get to point A to point B just the nick of time, but he's actually going to stop, realizing it's so far out of reach. No need to waste the energy and try to make something happen that is nearly impossible. But it goes to show how Rebel has been able to play in terms of turning this ship around. Next map we're going to go into, it is going to be District. That goes and allows that pressure to be alleviated even more because another map that is full of teamwork.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Incendiary Retro on one side, Incendiary Boltok on the other. Long shot placed down at the tank. We will continue to have that big team fight at that side of the map. Coming out into the initial. Monkyz will rotate up and pick the Incendiary and maybe go for the cap over at E. No, he's going to go for the Retro as well and the cap at E. He's going to trust his teammates in a 4v3 right here.
Crack's going to be the first one going down. Embar is going to be picked up by Jal. Xploidz trying to go into the sneak and elimination, but he's going to get dropped as well. Monkyz on the other side of the map, no matter what happens here, is at least giving them a foot to stand on in terms of that neutral hill. But he knows he's stretching forward, trying to go for more. Spots out Jal, who has the Embar. That's vital information to give on over to your teammates.
Looking for the next possible play here. Jalid with the M-bar in hand, looking for the marks, looks for the little headshot there on the player, lancering out from the opposite side of the home hill. Won't be able to get that headshot off. It's going to be Monkyz at the 45. Looks for the shot there. At least gets the call out. 2v2 on the map on both ends now. Monkyz marked. Won't be able to get hit. I think the fight has to break out here first because if they get the kills at the F hill, they'll spawn behind them.
That's exactly what has to happen. The fight has to break out on this side of the map first. Otherwise, it's going to be all for nothing. Barring any miracles to come out, but the flash is going to come out. Damage is going to set in onto Jalid. Crack is trying to push up. Incendiary towards the backside, but it's just a little too deep. Jalid's going to be able to thrive in that situation and force those proactive plays. But over the top, he peeks, not able to find anything. Switching to the shotgun. Two players continuously spotted out, but the targets are not giving him anything to work with.
Juicy.
Continuing to hold their corners and their cubbies to make sure they don't get hit with the M-bar. Monkyz will get hit with one body shot, though. Aim boot misses the first, barely hits the second, but gets enough damage to get the down, and this could be the opening that Fury One needs to pressure over to Rebels' home hill. A down and a kill comes through from Kardia, and that will give them at least a chance to maybe pressure the F hill. The E hill will be under contestation. Shot onto Xploidz. That is huge because that keeps him right there at his home hill. He's not able to help his teammates pressure out toward this fight toward Jalid.
You can see the information he's giving out to his teammates. They're still pushing. They're still getting aggressive. Bold talk just the nick of time. Up A from Jalid to keep him alive. 2 hills to 1. Certainly this one's in order, barring any miracles coming out from Rebel. But Crack's able to take out Jalid. There goes the opening of that opportunity. It's about the rest of the team spawning up and getting in action as quick as can be.
This is going to be aim booting a 1v1 here. Looking for the teammate help from the respawn. One player's going to get chunked out. Actually, it was a trade out, as a matter of fact. Now Toady in the 1v1 here. He's going to get some help from the left-hand side off the respawns. They're going to pressure out toward Xploidz. Beautiful kill there on him as well. E-Hill will be under contestation, but it is too little, too late, ladies and gentlemen, as once again, Fury One, they find an answer and stay alive 4-2.
They're clawing their way back into the map, but I still wonder, 4-2, is it too late? Because we've seen Rebel use their teamwork, back rolling their positions to try to put out even more damage. But Fury One, for the past couple of rounds, have been getting even more so aggressive, have been able to take control of the power weapons and winning those crucial 1v1 or close quarter style of fights that's able to propel them this far. But how long, like I said, can they keep up this fight, Colin? Especially as the weapon selection looking like it's going to be a little tricky.
Going to be very tricky, as a matter of fact, as the disable will come out there, and this is the round that could settle us into an even longer war of attrition if Rebel can find a way to win it. Off the respawn we go. Both teams sending all of their players toward the middle of the map. Looking to try to get an early advantage here. We can hear the Lancer damage firing out across the map, as a matter of fact. And just looking to see if anybody gets those early kills, those early advantage breakers, those ice breakers. The incendiary to the backside of the tank doesn't find anybody, and aim boot bounces up right into 2 different Nashers.
Going for that sneaky play yet again. Jalid going to capture the hills, but this time around, aim boot not able to stay alive long as he did in previous rounds, but it's on the other side of the map, shredding that defense thin. 2v1 on this right here. If they're able to solidify it, that'll be back-to-back 2v1s. Monkyz is next one up for grabs, but Xploidz trying to rotate on over to try to keep it as even as possible. Missing that first M-bar shot. Back-to-back shots are not going to be able to connect. Jalid cleans it up onto Monkyz and takes down Xploidz. Kardia trying to be the hero, but so much pressure on the back, unable to clean it up, and he's going to fall as Fury One looking like they're going to steal yet another round away.
Fury One, they're just trying to keep this alive. The longer and deeper they go into this map, the more doubt they put into their opponent's mind. And that is all they need to do to keep themselves in a chance to try to get a 3-0 sweep. Over at the E-Hill, a big team fight might break out as it looks like both teams are going to start sending players over here. 4-2 map count right now. Back in by Crack, gets the first down, gets the finish as well. The flash lands at his feet, gets the stun. Xploidz tries to rotate over to help him. They're going to continue to go for shots here, but it will be Rebel with a big team fight win on that side of the map, and the E-Hill going into their favor.
The Monkyz knows it's just about wasting time. Put out damage because it's not him who's going to solidify that elimination, but Toady gets caught lacking there for a moment. That's all that Monkyz needs. On the other side, the fresh respawn players are able to discombobulate and then push them out of that respawn, and a quick kill by Ventry is going to allow them to overthrow that neutral, which is more than enough at this stage of the game, barring any victories coming out from Rebel on this fight right here.
This is going to be what Rebel's going to need, a big revive, and that's going to be Aim Boot with another down. Kardia gets big body shot at a third shot, could get another down on him. Shots over the top, won't be able to get it. Monkyz hits the shot around the cubby. Toady, he's going to have to back off here. Fight back at his own home hill. Try to keep alive. Try to get a revive for a teammate. Jalad goes to the one-shot. Chunk won't be able to get it, and Toady's down as well. Rebel, they're looking to finish this map off with a 3-cap streak right here, a 3-hill domination.
To second short, even with the double hill capture. Rebel needs a triple neutralization in this round, and they're going to get it for now. They keep the clock stopped at 2:07, 159.
Rebel looking to try to win this map, extend this series. That could be an extraordinary game plan and a game play from them to keep this map alive. There's the kill again. The M-bar picked up by Jalad. Jalad looking to make magic like he did in Regency. This is going to be the 2-1 hill cap. No! No! Jalad with a heady on the Monkyz!
Look at the win condition. Even with the capture, the win condition doesn't go on over. So once again, Rebel needs another neutralization on the hill, and it starts with Jalad. Damage is going to be taken. He's going to be forced back. He has some help in the form of Ventry as well. Can they hold the line and add salt to the wound? Toady flanking towards the backside to not only get the decap, but the capture as well as Fury 1 will stay alive in Vasgar Escalation.
What an incredible map 3 we've gotten. This is a much better map than we saw in the first two. Getting down to the wire now. Can Fury 1 play perfect for 2 rounds and somehow get a 3-0 sweep, or will Rebel win just one more to send us to a map 4?
And you know the disable was already out and used. Shot grenade being upgraded. Same thing can happen on the other side with Rebel. They can go ahead and throw that shot grenade in place of the retro. They can half the retro. They can throw another weapon in towards the middle of the field, but it's going to be a 60-second retro up for grabs on the side of Rebel.
It's going to be interesting here simply because you see what the game plan has been for both of these teams, how they've found their path to victory round in and round out here. Coming over to the tank fight. Rebel will not have the man advantage. Flashes will go to the backside of the tank. Rebel holding onto their defensive position. Kardia will bounce back up into that position, try to get that first down. Will get the shot onto Toady to get the down, but will not be able to get the cleanup just yet. Shot on in the back a little bit, looking for the extra angle there into the middle. Monkyz gets hit with a big shot over the top. Won't be able to find anybody there. Now we see a big body shot from Kardia. What a chunk out from him. Opening things wide up for them to maybe go for a 2-1 hill advantage for the home-to-home spread here.
Late shock is really going to cost him because he's able to push through at the top side of the steps. Those are going to be cleaned up. You see revives being taken out, but the retro, or I should say it's the M-bar again onto Jalad. Aim boot goes down. It's all about this neutral where Toady has to be the defensive stand, and he does. Gets that first one onto Monkyz to keep Fury 1 alive for now.
Had to win that big fight, had to be able to solidify this position for just a few moments, allowing his teammates to get back into the fight. They're going to go for the 2-1 hill advantage here momentarily as they get their home hill back. Marks will come out from both sides as well, just letting each other know where every player position is. This is the interesting part. When things settle down and you get to see both teams kind of make their move, their next play, M-bar revving, won't be able to find any shots with those first two. Xploidz with very mischaracteristic misses there for him. Pulls up with a snub, won't be able to help out the damaging fight there, and the F-hill will go in favor of Fury 1 for now. They look to keep their pacing here and look to keep the lead coming back into their favor.
Toady has had enough. He's tightening up the troops for sure to really pull and will them back into this one. As you see the spread of defense, 3 towards that F-hill. 3 offensive players coming in from Rebel. Smoke, perfect as can be to cloud out Jalad, forcing players back. Aim boot taking damage. He's going to get marked out. It's going to be hard for him to pick and choose when to peek out, but Jalad, along with Ventry, they get it down onto 1. Jalad cannot continue to put out the damage because he took too much himself, but it's the angles right now from Fury 1 that are making the difference, but Jalad and Ventry fall. 2 players go down. Rebel trying to strike.
Rebel looking to try to end this right here, right now. They need to win this one round to make it a 5-3 and to go to map number 4. Snub shots over. This is going to be a triple cap domination threat, and Aim boot's going to go down right there. Ventry still alive in this situation. Meanwhile, Fury 1 will win their home, but they're now down by 30 points or so. This is where Rebel can sit back on their laurels, rest on the defense, and try to win it here in a 2-1 hill advantage. Jalid at the E hill with the neutralization and the retake momentarily. Looking to try to finish his cap as well. Will get down, and that to me, that's a mistake. You can't let that happen.
You cannot let that happen, but still, 2 hills to 1. Cody's down, Jalid's down, decap onto the neutral, and another player's gonna fall. That leaves D wide open for grabs. That puts a lot of pressure on Ventry yet again, who's gonna come out on top on that exchange. He's gonna try to capture it up and make a beeline for that F hill, because he is the last saving grace for this Fury 1 roster in this map, and he actually goes down. He gets taken down from across the map by Crack, who holds the last stand for Rebel, and they take map number 3 and continue on to the series.
That's the kind of answer Rebel needed. They had to be able to win it here. They got to stay alive, and even though it might be a gasp, they've got oxygen. They have got life in the series against Fury 1, not falling to the clean sweep. This is a beautiful sight to see for their fan base. Jacob, I think the definitive turning point to me was just how effective Monkyz was in those late engagements, those retro fights where he was able to get shots out onto multiple players, give them the extra damage needed to maybe win those fights, especially because I've been saying it since he got onto this roster. He gives them just a level of consistency. He's Mr. Cool, Calm, and Collected. He gives you the same thing every time out of the gate. Even though we might have seen some highlight plays from other players, I just always look at Monkyz and what he's done for his squad.
Yeah, from saving flanks, being a huge stand in 1v1s, to being a huge playmaker in those team fights. I gotta agree with you when it does come to Monkyz, but overall, Fury 1 showed some great resilience towards the second half of the game, but they put themselves too deep into a hole. So I go ahead and ask you, after what you've seen, a victory coming out from Rebel on Vasgar, even though it was a close call at the end, who do you think has the momentum or any sort of confidence going into the next map?
I mean, Rebel has to have the confidence at least that they were able to hold on, because at the end of the day, you weren't able to close out maps 1 or 2. You got pretty much stomped in map 1, only to get, to fight back a little bit in map 2, but never really find your footing. So you've got to have some confidence. You finally found a map win. Something's got to be going right.
At the end of the day, at least it goes to show that, hey, a lot of what they've been doing in their big victories is still possible. It's never going out the window. It's the inability or the consistency and even being able to replicate it, match in and match out, regardless of your opponents. Because you can see when Rise takes the battlefield, when the Pittsburgh Knights take the battlefield, no matter who their opponent is, they're consistently playing their game time in and time out. It's Rebel who's either playing up or playing down, rotating around to their opponent's level.
Well, I think going into the control, Jacob, we're going to see a very gamey performance by both teams, because Fury 1, they've always been a great control team. We know what to expect from them going into this map 4. We know that they're going to try to give it their best go to try to shut it down, and I think that's exactly what they've got to do against Rebel. They can't let this go to a map 5. You don't want to keep giving your opponent life. I've always just felt like that is the only way to play Gears. If you can shut them down, if you can put your foot, the boot, or the heel of your boot, excuse me, on their back and just keep them down, you've got to do that.
Yeah, and this matchup, I think, is kind of follows suits in what you just said of it's a momentum-based matchup. Rebel definitely flies high on momentum. Fury 1, even before Toady, were riding on that momentum. You add Toady, a bit of strategy, they're still going to utilize that same exact thing. So coming into District, it's very, very important, because I think it still has the possibility of being a slate fresh map there that we're going into, almost as if it's the first map of the series. So it's going to be very, very important for Rebel to continue to dig deep, because we've seen on many different occasions, not just today, that the players have a tendency to kind of give up on plays, to give up on opportunities, which you can't have happen at the highest level.
Without a doubt, and also something that might have to sit in the back of the subconscious of Rebel going into this map 4. Fury 1 has always been incredible on District. They take teams to the brink on this map. I really do believe that when you get Fury 1 on District, they've been so good at the rotations. They're extremely incredible, by the way, at those 2 stairwell hills. Even if they don't have any of the utilities to really use in their favor, whether it be the shock or the drop, They have always done such an incredible job of maintaining their posture, their control, their persistence at those two stairwells, the bottom left, bottom right side of the map. So Fury 1's a very dangerous team on this map. I think Rebel, if they want to be able to put Fury 1 away and go to a map 5, it's got to be, you know, P1 through 3. You got 75, 150. You're looking at 230 points or so, 225 points, excuse me, off of the first 3 hills. You need probably 140 to 150 of those. You need to dominate the initial sectors because you can't let Fury 1 just kind of hang around.
Yeah, and if these teams end up in a spot to where they're fighting over and over, double initial, triple initial, to where it just doesn't end, I think kind of whoever has that momentum, whoever's getting the slays, the double kills, the triple kills at the end of the day, even if they're not getting the points, are just building that momentum, and I think the points will soon to follow. So I think this initial fight and how you set the tone and how you set the pace is going to be really, really important for these teams.
Well, you look at District, you know that there's that initial fight there in the middle of the map over that first power weapon, and of course playing into the backside of the cinema, where you've always got to be lurking that CQC. Coming out of spawn, Rebel and Fury 1. Rebel looking to take it to a map 5. Fury 1 looking to try to get a win here. A much-needed win, if you ask me. Coming to the initial cinema fight early in this one, Rebel loses 1 player, 4v3 now officially into the initial.
You crawl in the dirt.
It's the early start. I was looking for Fury 1 to have, taking out multiple players. That first drop shot's going to be important, but just like we've seen on so many jurisdictions before, getting the drop shot isn't going to be enough. It's utilizing and getting the most effective play out of that drop shot is just as important as just securing it itself.
So backside of the cinema, Fury 1 already kind of wrestling with the idea of how do they play on this next fight, but a big kill there by Crack. He'll open up the angle here to the left-hand side. Ventry with a drop in hand, tries to get the shot onto the Kardia, does get it to go. Flashed out, though, by Crack and a teammate. 2v1 down to the backside of the cinema. Shots through the front side. Toady will be downed out. Crack will get a solidified kill there, and a shot over the top will get them into the hill, and a decent amount of points left to be able to fight over.
More than enough. 18 seconds onto 1. You can see them fighting for that next one as well, where Fury 1's going to beat them to the punch and not only set up to the low half of the map, you see them putting aim boot deep into the spawn to make Rebel fight for each and every single inch. But that puts an important here onto Toady against Xploidz. If Xploidz can win this fight, they get the spawn point, they get an additional angle, and they can continue to try to pick off the players of Fury 1 by one.
Moving across the bottom of the map, setting up in a pretty defensive, a wide defensive array, as a matter of fact, is going to be Fury 1, raiding on point 2. There's the shots out, trying to get these positional fights and advantages in these initials. There's the down on a Kardia, and aim boot will get that kill. Now 2 players in front of him. Inside of the juice, it's going to be Monkyz. Monkyz looking to just try to stay alive for as long as possible, keep himself safe. Shot over the top by Jollet and taken down, and this is one of those 2 hills I said Fury 1's always incredible at, bottom left and bottom right, and they are already in the initial, and they are already stacking up their point lead, Jacob.
Yep, I know you said those corner hills, and honestly, the 3 first hills are going to play an important role, and it doesn't look like Rebel's been able to piece together any of the teamwork to make it a possibility. But with aim boot going down deep into the spawn, this can be the saving grace. But with only 30 seconds left, combined with that, this is where they have to make that tough decision. Do you rotate for next? Do you play for the trash time? I think the decision is going to be very, very crucial, but with those 2 eliminations from Monkyz and getting the drop shot, it's going to make it that much easier for them to solidify the next one.
Coming into this position with a 1v1, Kardia is looking to try not to get shot by aim boot as well. Aim boot's going to try to join his teammate Ventry. Ventry and aim boot with a 1 down. Now need to worry about Crack on the flank. Crack using the L trigger to the best of his ability. Gets double shot and taken down. With only 15 seconds left and a little bit of trash time. Monkyz, he has the drop on his back. He might need to rotate out of this position, try not to go down. He's got teammates behind him as well. Just gefilte fish with him. You don't have to take the fight. You need that drop.
I would say, made me a little nervous, a little scared, but definitely not shook. Neither is Monkyz, knowing exactly what to do. We just didn't see that reinforcements are all the way. He heard it loud and clear, but with a drop shot in the hands, he's trying to make a path of his own. 2 players getting back down from Fury 1. One of them's Toady, who's going to get dropped. Reinforcements in the form of aim boot are going to come in just in the nick of time. Look at all the downs he's getting, but the eliminations, he's not able to clean up all of those eliminations, just 1. The damage will continue. Ventry trying to lend a helping hand, but nobody is going to be successful, and aim boot with a chance of a lifetime lets it slip through his hands.
We'll be on board with Monkyz here, bottom side of the map, holding down the Bandstand, excuse me. Just trying to make sure he's not angled out from the verticality. Rebel inside of the hill. Taking a look here at the stat lines for everybody. Pretty okay performances by everyone. First player rolls up into the fight. Jolid will trade out. Kardia trying to hold on to the hill by himself. Xploidz will watch a player drop in and... Oh, we lost him. We lost Monkyz. Totally lost Monkyz.
I mean, I wouldn't want to play without Monkyz either.
For a second, I was like, my man,
Okay,
are you yawning because you're about to get a three-piece? Are you about to pull the heist of the century?
I almost was hoping that all three players on screen would just try to hunt down Xploidz. There's nothing else for them to do. They can't capture the hill. Might as well just get the down and just have some fun there at the end of the day. But Colin, from what we've been able to see, Fury 1 out of the gates, taking it to Rebel. Why do you think that is? And what does Rebel have to do to come back?
I think Fury 1's best advantage so far in this matchup, and it's been the rounds that they've been winning that rather than the rounds they've been losing, of course. Okay. It's always won them the day. Take a look back at the control on Regency, angling out different players, forcing them into a spot where somebody else from Fury 1 can get a shot on them. Go to the execution on checkout. Players get up onto the platform from Rebel. They're getting shot from 2-3 angles. They go down quickly. They get the quick cleanup. You take a look at the escalation, the rounds that they were able to win. They were able to replicate that same scenario. Rebel is looking to kind of take a couple of 1v1s, just let them out-talent their opponent right now. I don't necessarily think they're taking them lightly, but that certainly looks like the game plan is just out-talent their opponent, try to impose their will on them, whereas it looks like Fury 1, they're playing much more methodically. They're much more playing, hey, look, you might take a pawn, but we've set a knight and a bishop up to put you in check. We're going to put that rook on that final line and try to get checkmate here in just a minute because they're looking for the angles. They're playing out and around you rather than down through the gut.
All right. Do you think that plays like a factor of Toady joining the roster? Or do you think that's just the team just adapting? Or maybe a combination of both?
Definitely a combination of both, but I don't ever want to take anything away from Toady. He's a player that in the few times I've gotten the chance to roll out a spawn with him, I'm not sure how he is in practices. I've never been able to be in that scenario with him, but you know, when I've gotten a chance to sit and talk with him, when I've gotten the chance to play games with him, he is a very calming presence. He's much like kind of I would say, when he's your pure IGL, he's the guy making the shot calls. He reminds me of kind of a Franchise Junior because Franchise, when he would make shot calls, never really got his voice up. He'd get his voice up when he'd get hype or you're getting kills, but the communication was always just, it was one sentence is like, hey, rotate here. Hey, shoot this guy. Hey, get up top. Get on the overlook. It's not necessarily on a beat like a 1, 2, 3, 4 type beat, but it's calming. You hear it, and the guy's so confident in what he's saying that you feel like you can't go wrong if you just follow orders.
And that calm, cool, collected leader, and I think that's something that I've been harping at for a while when it comes to the IGL, whether it's the coach. You need to have somebody that not only one you respect to kind of lead the charge, because at the end of the day, you have to have trust in every single one of your teammates, including the coach. But you have to have somebody that has that calm, cool, collected voice, because if your leader is getting frantic, if your leader is getting antsy, that does something self-consciously to the players that are also playing with that leader. It makes them feel that their callouts has to match. It has to be as frantic and as important. And what that does is it makes a non-important 1v1, a non-important person on the map called out in a frantic manner, which could cause players to turn, give up their position, give up their line of sight for something that may not be as important. And that's something I'll say, Colin. You can ask Letnek, you can ask Eternity Kenny. That's something I was very, very guilty on Gears of War 3, especially on Dry Dock. I'm across the map doing absolutely nothing but holding down a spawn, but I'm screaming. Let me tell you, Colin, I am screaming like I have the most important fight in the world. Meanwhile, there's a torque bow up, there's the next hill, there's grenades in the hands, and there's a whole war going down that I just didn't know what happened. So you need to make sure, whether if you're Rebel and Fury 1 in these chaotic situations, to have the calm, the cool, the clear voice, so that way everybody can kind of match, and self-consciously you're not amped up for no reason.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got word from the referees, and I'm going to read this to you line for line right now. We do have the word that we will go with the reset, but it will be Rebel needing 256 points. Fury 1 only needing 188.
Okay. About like what, 112, 34? Not too bad. Not too bad.
No.
That was quick maths. That was quick maths.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
44.
I just like the 88 because it's oct. I don't know what 188 is, but oct just makes me happy.
I'm just saying, what is oct?
Like it's German for 8.
All right, if you're a wide receiver, what's your number? If you're in football, because I'm not getting any of that wide receivers versus quarterback, what numbers they should be. What's your number if you're playing football?
My number was 5, but my number was 5 for everything. And laugh at me all you want. I'm about to blow your mind, and I'm going to make a whole lot of people have a headache. 5 is my favorite number because in every situation growing up, when I played any games whatsoever, when we played 5-on-5 scrimmages, whatever it might have been, I always said 5 was the most perfect number for most scenarios because you had 4 people to take orders and 1 person to give orders. So it was an even number. You didn't have too many chefs in the kitchen. I know 5 is an odd number, but I use the word even because you got 4 dudes taking orders, 1 dude giving orders.
Okay.
Unless, you're married to my wife, and in which case she's just giving me orders.
That's just how it goes.
That's just
taking
how
orders. She's giving orders.
I might as well have one of those little books that you have at like a restaurant if you're a waitress where I'm like, I'll do that. And then we call it honey-do list around here, by the way. That's what it's called, a honey-do list. But the word do is not spelled like D-E-W. It's spelled like D-O, like you better do this.
It's like, Colin, do you want chicken or beef? You're thinking, I want chicken. Your wife's like, I want beef. You're like, you know what? Let's get beef.
Beef sounds so good right now. I can't even imagine. I can't even tell. Tonight, she made this bomb ground turkey with spiced peppers and carrots and boiled it all up in a pan, put some rice over the top of it. Man, she threw this thing together and God knows how long, but I've eaten like 3 bowls of it.
It could have been made in 10 minutes. It could have been made in 10 hours. No matter what, you're getting 3 bowls.
I'm eating 3 bowls, baby. I go back for seconds and thirds. All right, I go for thirds. One of my favorite words, tertiary. I get my tertiary bowl of dinner. I'll tell you that much.
Colin, you're my goods, man. I just feel so comfortable casting with you. Happy belated birthday yesterday. If anybody forgot Colin's birthday yesterday, shame on you. You still got this second chance. Make sure the chat fills up with some birthday wishes for Colin, just like Jal is trying to fill up the elimination feed with Elim after Elim. Even though the reset is in, the point total was stick. 112-44 was the score before that one ended. So Rebel needs 256, while Fury 1 just needs 188.
And I like that. Shout out production. I always thought it was one of the best things I've ever seen added to the game, where we get to see that little score line above it, 256, 188. That's just a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. Ventry, though, with a drop shot. Look at 3 players. No, he's only going to get 1. 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 That's too far left. He had to go to the pillar and not the inside of the cubby. He could have gotten the dub, but it's okay, ladies and gentlemen, because they got 1 and they settle the tea kettle. Fury still trying to hold on to their positioning. Trying to make this even harder, as you can see, only needing the 188.
We see they're leaving down Kardia. That's going to allow him to get revived by Monkyz. But you can see in your minimap, 2 different ideas. Kardia goes forward, Monkyz goes back, but now he's trying to make up for it and backtrack, but he loses Kardia. Xploidz is going to get the down onto Ventry, but he gets dropped as well. Different decisions, different pages, causing all this chaos in favor of Fury 1.
Big shot there, Monkyz. I was going to call him Mono, but I know nobody knows who that is. It's Monkyz, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I am Ron Burgundy. You put Mono as your name, I'm going to try to say Mono. Just like when Toady put his name as V707I or 71. I was going to say that every time.
I was calling him Aimer Galley basically last time, so you put it in front of me, I'm turning into Ron Burgundy too, along with you.
Yo!
Takes down Kardia. And that goes to show, sometimes you just got to try to make the play. You go deep into spawn, you let your teammates know, I'm weak, I'm about to go down. They're going to be right there at your hip to get the revive.
See what they have here is they're going to get the shot on. Aim boot trying to get into that next fight. Won't be able to get that to go. 45 seconds left. Shock grenade will get them out of that position for the neutralization, and that is perfect. I mean, look at this. Needing 188 to start the map. Now only needing 99.
Time ticks down. Not a point scored right now for Rebel, which is very, very concerning. They got it neutralized for now. 2v2 on that side of the map, and you could see with a little bit of high ground, that's going to be Kardia trying to alleviate some pressure, but nobody's definitively able to go towards the back side of the hill with 30 seconds left. They're going to treat that as trash time and try to play for the next.
Let's see what they do here is Xploidz over the top middle. He's going to see that Kardia is going to go, excuse me, he's going to go for, yeah, Kardia's going to go for the 90 degree. They're both going to get taken out now. A 2v1 on a Crack. Crack inside of the info is going to roll up on one. Big body shot by the first. Now we'll try to get the second shot, but won't be able to get him two.
You never stood a chance.
Be a good couple of kills. Now, big pick on the drop. Can Aim Boot get it away? He's going to go down, and Jalad. Will you get the revive? He's going to put your hand, there you go. Just put your hand out, baby. You just got to reach out and just put your hand on.
I don't know who it was, but somebody was putting a lot of damage onto Kardia while that cross was coming out, which kind of stopped him from continuing to put out the DPS with the Lancer, and you can see in the blink of an eye, cementing themselves on the hill as Fury 1 along with the drop shot. Crack trying to make a play over the top. Xploidz getting destroyed from all angles. Ventry has a cross from downtown. They're going to take out Kardia. Jalad's going to fall, but the man advantage continues to stay in favor of Fury 1, especially with Monkyz going down. Crack is trying to even the tides, goes for a quick elimination, but he's going to get dropped. 70 seconds up for grabs for Fury 1, as long as they can hold on to it all.
My brother, they are dominating this reset. They are taking Rebel to task, knowing that they have such a big advantage, needing only the 188 to the 256 of Rebel, up over 100 points already. Looking to try to settle this one down, trying to win this 3-1.
Even with team fire going down, the good flank from Xploidz really gonna solidify the trash time left on this hill. I call it trash time, but 40 seconds is some great time that Rebel absolutely needs in this situation, as Aim Boot trying to keep the players guessing, backing them off of that drop shot, which honestly, you may not be able to get it now, but as long as you can set up around it, you're definitely going to put yourself in a position where you can grab it in the future. But with players dropping left, right, and center, Rebel's not only going to get the position for 20 seconds left, but you're going to see them spread out and try to get to the southern portions of the map to play for next.
We're going to see here with them setting up. Do you see a sneaky play coming?
Oh, yeah, I see it. I feel it. I don't like this one though. I don't like this. Yeah, I don't like this. You go sword. You go south. With your sneaky play, you go south, but you see them trying to get the elimination on Xploidz and use that man advantage and affect it from the top half of the map all the way to the bottom. A Crack catches one slipping. Great shot fired back from both of these teams, but Jalad, he's getting forced back. Both of these players have max damage for now, but it's Ventry who makes the impactful play on the other side of the map where the hill is actually located.
Inside of the bandstand here, shots out by both squadrons, looking to try to take control over this bottom middle hill. It will be Fury 1 inside the hill yet again and closing in on a victory. I mean, every second that passes is going to get that much more of a teeter-totter, that much more pressure managed up into the favor of Fury 1. There's the drop shot into the backside of the bandstand. Won't be able to find someone. See what they do here. There's a down. Toadie's going to get taken out, but still inside of the hill is Ventry. He's just racking up the scoreline, trying to get it as close to the 188 as possible.
Almost gets the trade right there. As Ventry does go down. Talk about getting close to the 188. Going to be about 30... What, 30? I don't even know. I'm not even going to do the math. My math's not good right now because it just looks like all the control is going on over to Rebel. For now, is only going to get 16 seconds left before they got to set their eyes on a next. And speaking of next, that's in full control of Fury 1 already.
Yeah, already sitting in that position, waiting for him at the pergola, set up and ready to go. They're going to be just under. Good job, baby. I love you so much. We're going inside of the juice. We're going to see what happens here. Shots out, wrap shots of galore from Toadie. Won't be able to find that first one. Looking for another one. There's going to be the shot in the bottom by Ventry. Ventry looking for the kill onto Kardia. Kardia's going to turn back. Inside of the hill is going to be Aim Boot. Aim Boot with two barreling down onto him. They got to get into the hill very quickly. There goes the flash. Wrapping around. Crack's not going to be able to get it. Up into the hill is going to be Crack and his teammates. They are flying back into this one, looking to cross the 100-point threshold and get even more in this hill at the pergola. Down to needing just 26 seconds is the side of Fury 1.
And you can see Xploidz trying to play that team game, backing up, using the flash to try to make sure he's there, safe and sound. But Crack takes a ton of damage because of that same position he's given up. But if you look at the mini-map, a 2-2 split, trying to push through to try to get to the center of the map, but Ventry's going to fall. Lancer damage continuing to pour out from Rebel to make sure that nobody's gaining any inches. And it's going to be successful, Colin. You can see in your mini-map, everybody's backed out of that center of the map and forced to play for the drop shot.
Looking for this next couple of moments to go their way. Fury 1 setting up over toward the drop shot with the verticality. They get one down. Now 4v3 on the map officially. Looking to be able to see what they can do. Kardia in a 1v1 here. Big shots, but he goes down. The good rotation in by Toady saves his teammate as well as keeps the drop shot on his back. They are rotated over to next with one player waiting in the wings. Crack is going to try to take out the drop shot. Toady has to roll back into that cover. Crack is full red. Crack not down. Crack finally dead. Fury 1 can rotate into that hill, put the pressure on, 165 and counting now. Drop shot in, shot onto Kardia, that'll kill him. This will be Xploidz moving up into that position next. Nobody's into the area for the flank, but he goes down, he stays too far out. Down to just 18 seconds, and Jacob, they stay in the hill. This is where the pressure mounts.
Less than 15 seconds to go. Monkyz gets 2. He's trying to be the saving hope, but he gets dropped. It's all up to Kardia at the bottom portion of the map. Mix that with Kardia trying to come through at the top. Less than 10 seconds remain. Kardia makes the stop, gets in for the neutralization or the contestation, but Xploidz gets another one to add to the Rebel total and the comeback potential. But it's only 3 seconds that Fury 1 needs to close out the map and close out the series.
Sitting in this position, it's going to be Crack waiting at the first line of defense for his teammates to maybe help as 3 players are up in the area now. They're going to bounce back into the backside. Crack sitting in that cubby. The shot grenade goes out to stop them from getting into the hill. 153 to 185. Not enough points to win on this, but they have to basically stay here until 3 seconds or less, Jacob, because they will lose if they give up too many positions here, if they give up too much time. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That will be the win. Fury 1 rotate in, get the kills to secure the hill and secure a 3-1 victory over Rebel.
And it goes to show that everything that they've been working on up until this point, the calculated aggression has been key to their success. Another victory over Rebel is going to be huge for them coming into the closeout of the split, going right into the major. You need all the confidence you can get and the belief in Toady that that pickup, the roster change, is going to be the one that kind of puts you that much further when that major does come around.
Incredible performance by Fury 1. I'm really appreciative of the fact that they came out here. They were the complete underdogs. Everybody, you know, of course, we're not going to talk about what happens when you pick Rebel versus when you don't pick Rebel, because we all see how that plays out. So we're just going to talk about how good Fury 1 was for all 3 maps that they were able to win. Regency, the team fire, the rotations, Jalid with the M-bar, going into the execution, Jalid with the rotations around the platform, as well as Ventry playing through the backside of those checkout lanes. Nobody from Rebel could get their feet under him. We come into this map for District. Fury 1 gets into a commanding lead. Monkyz lags out. We go to the reset, and Fury 1, they picked up right where they left off. They were not giving up an inch, nor were they ever going to give up a mile. Didn't matter how many feet are in one.
And I know you didn't want to talk about the map that they lost, but you know what, Colin? Let's open that book and let's talk about it. Because they were making a huge comeback campaign towards the second half of the map, but Fury 1 put themselves too deep into a hole early on against the Rebel roster. That didn't matter how good they were playing. You just needed one more round victory on the side of Rebel. I believe if they were able to use the same pressure that they put on maps 1, 2, and 4, continue that intact on a mode like Escalation, that they could have closed it out. But I think when it comes to Fury 1, Escalation will always be their weak suit. It's too much teamwork, too much depth and strategy. So for them, I would like to see them maybe stay away from Vasgar. Pick something like a training grounds or a harbor where you can close out the majority of the map.
Well, we see what Fury 1 was so succinctly good at in most of those maps was finding the extra advantage, trying to find the extra rotation, getting the shots. In my opinion, they kept finding the 45-degree angle. They kept finding that 90-degree angle. They were able to rotate around the map very quickly against their opponents, keeping them on the back foot. By the way, Jacob, what was the payout for the 100 points or the 1,000 points you put down?
I didn't really put 1,000. I've just clicked the 10 a bunch. Let me see what I won real quick. Let me see details. Let me see. I don't even know. How do you even see that right now? Because I just came up. 18% of the vote, and I just came up. I have 45,000 total points. I don't know how many I won off of that.
So guess what, Jacob? Now your job on the next time it's close is to vote against the chat so that we can keep knocking them down. We just got to keep knocking them down.
I just stole all those points.
Hey, baby, sabotage is where it's at. Ask the Beastie Boys, my man. Ask the Beastie Boys. But look, kudos to Fury 1. Fantastic series by them, taking care of Rebel in 4 maps, only dropping the Escalation. But we are not done. 2/3 of the day up, 2/3 of the day down. We got one more banger on set for you. It's Northern Forces versus E United.